In this module, I'll teach you how to build self-improving AI agents with the help of AutoGen Studio and my cat. Now, AutoGen Studio is a new AI agent interface developed by Microsoft. Now, this tool is great because it doesn't require any coding to build teams of agents. To set it up, you need to run a few commands. However, right here, I have a fresh MacBook with nothing installed on it, so I'll show you step by step how to install Python, how to set up VS Code. Just follow along what I'm doing, and by the end of the video you will know how to build self-improving AI agents. The first thing we need is to install VS Code, and if you get stuck at any point, use ChatGPT. So when you're on VS Code, select your version, it's gonna download. And the next thing we need is Python. Python environments allow you to separate your projects. Normally managing them is quite difficult. Conda makes this super easy. Conda.io and do it directly. So click on Mini Conda, choose your installer, save that. VS Code, open with archive, you have to unzip it. For Conda, go to your downloads, click on Mini Conda and click on open and just click through this, go through all the steps. I literally just did this, but OBS corrupted my footage. So if you're on Mac, just search for terminal. If you're on Windows, press Windows plus R and type CMD. Let's say I didn't know that, right? How do I open the terminal on Windows? Use ChatGPT if you get stuck at any point, right? So now that we're in the terminal, type conda -- version. It should say something. Conda 24, meaning we successfully have Conda installed. Beautiful. Now, as for VS Code, we have to go to our applications and open up VS Code from the apps. Now, inside of VS Code, you have to do one more thing. Press Shift, Command, or Control, and P. It will open this. You have to type in shell command, install code to path, and click on this. To create a new Python environment with Conda, just type the following. Conda, create, -n, and then your environment name. I'm just gonna name it tutorial. You can do anything you want. And then we have to set up the Python version. Microsoft recommends 3.11, so I'm gonna do that. Python equals 3.11 and hit enter. This will start creating our new Python environment. Hit enter again. And we will use this to install the AutoGen Studio package. By the way, anytime you want to have your terminal more organized, just type clear and hit enter. I'm gonna do conda env list, and this command shows us all of the environments I have. Type conda activate tutorial, enter, and as you can see on the left, we have tutorial activated. Beautiful. Let's open up a blank folder. So, empty folder with nothing inside, create a new file, main.py. Now that we finally have working VS Code and working Conda, we need to install the AutoGen Studio package, and this is super simple. Just type in pip install AutoGen Studio and hit enter. This will install everything AutoGen needs. Let's do clear again. Now there is one last command we have to run before we get the beautiful AutoGen Studio interface where we can build agents without coding. To do that, go to VS Code, click on terminal and do new terminal. You should also see the same name of your environment as you do in Conda. If you don't see the same name, just go on to the bottom right, click on the version. This will pop up all the different environments. So choose the one, so like AutoGen, and then when you start a new terminal, it should be in that environment. The last command we have to run, AutoGen Studio UI -- port 8081 -- app dir folder. By the way, all of these commands will be linked below the module. So if you are inside the community, just go below the module and access them. If you're not inside the community, I highly recommend you join because we have a lot of great materials inside. Now to open AutoGen Studio, do command and click or control click, and there it is. Beautiful. And now we can build agents that have the ability to self-improve. Skills, this is basically tools that the agents can call. So this piece of code will generate an image using DALL-E 3. So we can give this to our agent and it can generate images. And we can have 10, 20, 30 tools like this and give them to our agents and make them more useful. But what's even better, and this is what I'm going to show you how to do, is we can build a team of agents that can actually create their own tools and self-improve in that way. Model, this is just a language model, right? You have GPT-4, Zephyr 7B, we can have Mistral, Gemini, Claude 3, any model we want. Agents, now this is where we build our agents. Here is an example. We give it a name, a description, human input, whether we want human in the loop, system message, temperature, and we can give it skills. So very, very highly customizable. And workflows, this is the beauty of AutoGen. This is what sets it apart from other agent framework tools, is you can build complex workflows of the agents working together and creating something that ChatGPT alone definitely can't create. To start with, we have to connect our model because I want to be using GPT-4 Turbo, which is the best model from OpenAI. To do that, just type in OpenAI platform. And here, click on login and log in with the same account you use for ChatGPT. Again, the URL is platform.openai.com. It will be linked below the module. On the left, we're going to go to API keys. Here, you might see API keys. So if you don't have anything, don't worry, just click on create new secret key. You can probably name it just tutorial create secret key. And I'm going to copy this. This, you shouldn't share it with anybody, and I will delete it before uploading the video. If we go here, we can paste it in here, and it lets us use any of the models from OpenAI. So actually, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go back to VS Code, the folder that was created before. Right click, create a new file. And this is going to be our environment file. Now, the last time a lot of people struggled with this, it should be .env, not text. It shouldn't have any text after it. It should just be .env. Inside, I'm going to do OpenAI underscore API underscore key equals and paste it in here. Save it. Again, I'll include a sample env file below the module. That way you don't have to do all of this and you can just take it and use it, right? Let's go back to AutoGen and we have to choose what model we want to use. Now that you have the API key, click on done and go to documentation. Again, we're on the platform.openai.com. Click on documentation, click on models and just copy this, paste. In AutoGen, you can actually test whether your API key is working. So click on test model. And mine is working, right? If it doesn't work, it's probably because you haven't used any API keys before. So you go to usage, just connect your card and charge in $5 and you will be good to go. Inside of AutoGen, we have our new model. So let's create a first agent. Click on agents, new agent. And this one is going to be the planner. All right, so I'm back on Windows and the reason for that is simple. OBS on macOS is a disaster. Let's continue. By the way, this description is for the manager, the main agent. Just so you know, this is super important. This agent writes clear step-by-step plans for the programmer. Okay, so I should probably explain it, the system, even though I already explained it twice in previous recordings. We will have 3 main agents and the 4th one will be the manager. First one will be a planner. This will create a step-by-step plan based on our input. Second agent will be a programmer and a third agent will be optimizer, which will look at the code and try to make it more efficient. And this team of agents should be enough to build a self-improving team of agents. This isn't that important. I just like to do it like at 4, something lower. Auto reply, we don't need to have any auto reply, I think. Human input, never. We don't want human in the loop in here. Now, system message, I have it prepared inside of VS Code. This one, prompts folder. I have 4 different prompts. By the way, they will be linked below the module. So if you want all the code as well the prompts, join the community. First link in the description. Your task is to create step-by-step plans for the programmer agent to use. Do not write any code ever. Only create plans. This is important. Take the input from the user and create 3 different plans. Choose the best plan and only send that one to the programmer. But this is default from Microsoft. Yes, this is the default Microsoft prompt. And it's actually optimized for a programmer really well. So these are all from Microsoft. And this is me again. Never say the word terminate. This is important. So let me copy this. Go back to AutoGen Studio and paste in GPT-4 Turbo. And then temperature, this is how creative the agent should be. 0 is the most consistent and the least creative. 2 is like super creative, but not that much consistency, right? So we can go probably 0.9. Now let's do a new agent, the programmer. This agent writes clean and efficient code. Remember, this description is for the manager, so it has to be crystal clear, it has to be super precise. Let's go back to my folder, programmer. Let me walk you through it. This is mostly from Microsoft actually, because it was a really good system prompt. Your task is to execute the plan you're given by the planner agent. And to be honest, you can spend like 2 or 3 hours just on one system prompt to make it really tuned, right? My goal is to just show you how to do it and you can build yourself anything you want. Because if you have a team of agents that can build new skills and self-improve, you can do anything you want with that. By the way, you know, if you see something, there's a reason why you see it. There's a reason why the prompt engineers put it here. So you can kind of imagine how the agents behave without this, right? Suggest the full code. So this is very interesting. A lot of beginner prompt engineers don't repeat instructions, but you can see this is basically the same as this, just, you know, different wording. So if you want to really highlight something in your custom instructions or your system prompts, feel free to repeat it. There is no harm in doing that. If it's important, it should be repeated. Never say the word terminate. This is important. Programmer never ends the workflow. And copy. Go back to AutoGen Studio. Model GPT-4 Turbo. We want temperature very low because the plan is already created by the planner. Now we have 2 out of 3 agents, so 1 more agent to go. And this is our optimizer. This is optimizer agent. This agent only goes after the programmer. Here we can do default auto reply terminate actually. because if there is nothing to improve, we want it to terminate. System message, your task is to analyze and optimize the code given to you by the programmer agent. Be as specific as possible when suggesting optimizations of the code. If the code from the programmer agent looks good and doesn't require any major changes, end the session with the word terminate. So let's save this and copy. Boom, again GPT-4 Turbo. For this guy we can go quite high, maybe even 1, because it's suggesting ideas. Now we have our 3 agents. Let's build a workflow out of them. Click on the 3 dots and do group chat, and this allows you to have more than 2 agents. I'm gonna name it plan, code, optimize. As you can see, we have sender and receiver, and we don't have to change this honestly at all. Now here in the group chat assistant, this is like the manager. This is where we have to be careful because this is very important, right? This is the agents in our group. Obviously we add the 3 we just created. Selection method, I think auto is the best. It lets the manager choose the one that should be running the next. Group chat assistant is a fine name. I like manager more. As you can see, there is like way more consecutive order replies for the manager. Let's just leave it low. This is a manager agent that controls and directs other agents. Human input never. We could build agent systems with human in the loop, but honestly, the point of agents is to make them autonomous, right? Now, system message, I already have this one written out. Now, this one I wrote with the help of ChatGPT. That's why it's a bit longer. You are the manager agent, the central coordinator responsible for orchestrating the seamless collaboration between planner, programmer, and optimizer. So what I did is I explained to ChatGPT what the manager should do, and then I told it to repeat the process 3 different times without changing it. So as you can see, it begins with a planner, following the planner, the programmer, and then it reiterates. So I'm using what I said before, repeating the most important part, which in case of the manager, it's by far the process. It shouldn't mess this up. If it sends the first output to the optimizer, then like it messes everything up. So that's why it's multiple times reiterated what it should be doing. And then the last sentence, as you can see, when the optimizer cannot find any more ways to improve the code, your task is to end the session by writing the word terminate. Copy, give it to the system message. Temperature probably should be low, 0.1 is good, I think. And okay, so now we have our workflow. The next step is to go into the playground and create a session and actually test it out. Alright, so let's create a new session. Here you have to select which workflow will be active in this session. And you can think of sessions as chats inside of ChatGPT. Obviously, we can choose any of these. I'm gonna use the one we created. Plan, code, optimize, create. Now, this is the test. This is where we will see if our agents are good enough, if my prompt engineering was good enough to build these agents so they can self-improve. So, I'm gonna do this. Create a function that takes user input and gets the exact coordinates of that location using the Google Maps geocoding API. Let's see if our team of agents can handle this. Okay, it's running, and we should probably see it inside of VS Code terminal. The processes. Yep. So as you can see, this is the user proxy agent, which takes our prompt and sends it to the manager. And it would be actually nice if Microsoft could make this more visual inside of AutoGen Studio right here in the web browser, so you don't have to rely on the terminal as much. But let's see. Okay, we have the plan. We have 3 plans, and then which is the best plan? Plan 1. Okay. Beautiful. So the first step worked. Manager successfully called the planner. Request reply, false, sender type, group chat. Okay. Sender planner. So let's see. Programmer. Beautiful. To proceed with plan 1. Yes. And it's writing the code. And optimizer to manager. Okay, let's go back into AutoGen. Okay. And then it sends back to programmer. Beautiful. So we have a loop. We have a self-improving loop. This is amazing. And let's see what happens now. Programmer should not end this. So hopefully it sends into the optimizer again. Yes! Optimizer to manager. Did it terminate? It did terminate! Oh my god. This is so good, man. So good. It's always satisfying seeing your new team of agents work. Okay, so we had 2 loops of programmer writing something, sending it to optimizer, finding improvements, sending it back to programmer correcting the code, improving it, sending the optimizer approving it, and terminating it. And now we should go back here, and we see it. Code you've provided is well structured, adheres. Okay, so let's look at the file. Well, it's empty. We've seen the agent messages had code, right? Yeah, here is the function. Maybe there was just an error outputting into the Python file, which again, it's in beta, as you can see, AutoGen Studio beta, so It's not perfect. Let's copy this. But the one issue I found, if you press this button, it actually copies the entire chat. So you still should copy this like this. And the name should be geocode location.py. On the left, I'm going to go to skills and add the skill. And I'm going to name it get coordinates. And replace the default with the one our agents just coded. So let's see. Import os.env, okay. Google Maps API keys. So this is how we have to name it in the environment variable. So I'm going to copy this, go back to our env. And obviously right now we don't have the API key, so we have to provide it. So I already have one generated. So yeah, if you don't have the API, go here, developers.google.com, geocoding, and you have to create a Google Cloud account and get your API key. Let's go back here and paste the API key I have in here. Again, I'm going to delete both of these before I release this, so don't worry. So as you can see, we've added a new skill. Now all of our future agents have just become improved. And I didn't code this, the agents coded this, which is beautiful. So we'll see if this works. On the first glance, it looks good. We'll see. Now let's create a new agent. We can name this like, I don't know, location finder finds the exact coordinates of a location using the get coordinates skill. Your only task is to take the user input and run it through the get coordinates skill. GPT-4 Turbo as well, temperature 0. The reason why I do temperature 0 is because I don't want this guy to be creative. I want him to follow instructions precisely. So skills, this is important. We have to give him the get coordinates skill actually. So add skill and save. Let's create a new workflow. For this one, we don't have to do group chat. 2 agents should be good enough. Find exact location. And user proxy, again, don't have to do much changes probably. Blah, 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 model, turbo preview, temperature 0. Looks good. Now, receiver, here, we change it to our location finder. So as you can see, we can, at the very bottom, we can replace it with an existing agent. So I'm going to do location finder and just make sure it has the skill. Okay, playground and new session, find exact location. And let's do a test. Let's do Mount Everest. And let's see if it works. If it does, it means our agents just self-improved because they created a capability, a skill they did not have before. Let's see, Wikipedia, it should not call Wikipedia. What is this writing? Oh no, this is not looking too good. Ay, what's going on? Location finder should not behave like that. Seems like user proxy messed this up. 9 messages? This should be 2 messages. Okay, let's go back and adjust our workflow. Let's do it to 1 maybe. And let's be a bit more specific. Take the exact word for word input from the user and send it to the location finder. Do not write anything else. Do not add any extra text. I'm being ultra descriptive here. That way nothing changes. Save. And let's go to location finder. And let's do 1 as well. That way we don't have any 9 messages. Okay, good. Save it. And let's create a new session with our find exact location. And let's try it again. Let's try, let's do Great Pyramid of Giza. Let's see. But I can't execute similar external call, including making API calls. Alright, so let's go back to our plan optimized code. I'm gonna feed them the entire function. And then I'm gonna do great job. Just add a simple example at the very end of the code showing other agents how to use this tool. So I mean, I could do this myself obviously, but I'm gonna use our team of agents, a programming team of agents to do this. We can actually see how much usage we're getting. So all of this for 0.22 today, which is very cheap. Obviously, if you wanted to hire a person to do this, it would be much more expensive. I don't know why this is happening. It seems to be a bug. So I'm just gonna copy this. This is a bad example. You can do better. The example should be using the actual function, not just plain words. What is going on here? Factorial. What is this? Our agents are doing something way more advanced than what I asked for. I think that's my fault because the agents don't have access to the previous, like they don't have memory, right? They only work with what you give them. So I'm gonna take this and create a new session change the last 4 comments of this code to properly show how to use this code with a location by calling the function. Obviously, the speed is one issue because we're using GPT-4 Turbo, which, I mean, it is turbo, so it's faster than normal GPT-4, but it's still a state-of-the-art language model. It still has like 1.8 trillion parameters or something. If we wanted to go super fast, I would use Grok API. This would be a fun test. Can do the same exact prompt. Let's test it out. Obviously, we have worse language models. The best one is Llama 2 70B, so we're going to use that. Let's see if Llama 2, and look at the speed. You are in the queue, and boom. This is insane. The Grok API chip, by the way, Grok with a Q, not Elon's Grok, probably did what I asked much faster. Okay, this is actually terrible. Never mind. Ignore what I said. The example is bad. Maybe there's an issue with this function, actually. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It shouldn't be using the input. That is the main problem. Let's see. Did this give us a better example of calling the function? Oh yes, it's okay. So this is way better than I expected. I only wanted it to do the comments, to update the comments, but it realized that in order to make that specific, in order to make that actually work, they had to also update the function and take the parameter as a location, which I overlooked. And before they just ask the user input, which obviously there is no human in the loop, so this is terrible approach. Even though I didn't spot that, they were able to figure that out on their own. And this is the power of having multi-agent systems. Amazing. So let's copy this and let's see if it works. Go back to our skill and replace everything with this. And now it's taking the location as a parameter in the function, which means the agent is able to input the location. All right, beautiful, save. Let's go back here and create a new session with the location one. Let's test out different location. I don't know, we could do Mariana Trench. And let's see if this actually works. Man, this is like so much anticipation. It's crazy. Okay, it did not work. I'm sorry, but I can't execute or simulate external code. I don't know what's the issue because I literally was able to get this to work earlier. So let's debug it with our code, right? I'm gonna take this. Here I'm gonna paste the entire code again. I'm gonna give it the exact issue the agent ran into. When I give the code above to my AI agent, I get the following error. See if you can adjust the code in any way so that it's easy for AI agents to use it. Let's see if our team of agents can give us code that's simpler. Modify the, okay, best plan free, okay. Direct instructions within code comments. Suggest creating a wrapper function. Modify the function for direct use and update comments. I mean, maybe there's issue with the prompt engineering. Why? Okay, there is an issue in the workflow. Planner called optimizer. So as you can see, building agents isn't as easy as it might seem, but that's where the rewards come in because so few people can do this. And let's do a new random location. Okay, Taj Mahal is good. Let's show India some love. And I mean, the process of agents is literally this, like iterative improvement. And also, now we have a team of programmers that can build functions. What we could also do is build a team of prompt engineers. That way, I don't have to do what I just did, just like trying to reverse engineer the agents. I could build a team of, like, this is really the only 2 teams you need to build like a self-improving squad of agents. Okay, we got a long response. Google Maps API key. Is this saved correctly? Geocoding API, error 60. Let's click on the geocoding API. By the way, I'm in console.cloud.google.com. Keys and credentials. So now I will double check that I am not trolling and I have the correct API key. Show key. Copy. Seems to be the exact same key. The agents should have access to the environment file. That could be one issue that they don't. I don't know. I mean, this seems to be like progress, but I've really confused. Okay, userproxy sends Taj Mahal to location finder. And then location finder starts causing issues. The great irony here is, of course, it worked perfectly before. And now, when I'm finally successfully recording, it doesn't. But hey, one thing I definitely should have done earlier is to try and get our friend ChatGPT to help us. So here is a function that my team of AI agents has developed. Let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. API key verification, yeah. So okay, I'm gonna show you my Google Colab. This is when I was learning how to use the geocoding API, and we can test it out, right? Let's do Mount Everest, and it works, right? We have these locations, get address, Mount Everest. So the API works. I'm using the same API key, because agents aren't perfect. So maybe we should just give it a second shot. I did a bunch of research, and when I saw other people build self-improving AI agents, the results were not 100%. In fact, they were between like 30 and 60% of the time the agent succeeded. And that could be a combination of multiple things. It could be just suboptimal prompting by my end, or it could be that the LLM's GPT-4 Turbo isn't good enough, or it could just be the manager assigning the agents in a wrong order. There's a lot of factors that could prevent our team of agents from achieving the desired result. But honestly, all of those factors will be solved within the next 12 to 18 months. So if you learn these skills now, when we have better LLMs, you'll be set, right? Plan 1, plan 2, plan 3, plan 3. Okay, so this is a very good example of why generating 3 plans is good. It chose the plan 3 as the best one. If it only generated 1, it would never get to plan 3 because it would just have plan 1. In fact, you know what? Let's just go in here and create a new folder in VS Code, new folder, and I'm gonna name it skills, and I'm just gonna create a new file, and this is gonna be get coordinates 01, 02 actually .py, and here we will store all the different attempts by the AI. Google Maps is highlighted. I don't know if that's a real thing. I don't know if it's a real package. Maybe that's just a hallucination from our agent team, but doesn't matter. Let's copy it and let's test it out. I mean, you can't expect everything to work on the first try, right? Playground, let's do a new session, location finding. Let's do Taj Mahal again. Okay, it's the same message. I can't execute the code or access external APIs in real time. So this one did not work. Let's try again. I'm gonna use ChatGPT to optimize my prompt. Suggest 7 simple ways I could optimize the prompt further. Oh yeah, that's true. It should probably be, again, this doesn't matter, but geocoding API key. That way they know to use the geocoding API. Include a block of code at the top that ignores SSL certificate errors. This is another trick that might work. Mention the specific Google Maps. Okay, yeah, I should probably give it the URL parameters. This is by far the best prompt we have so far. Actually, let's maybe try to build a new workflow. Maybe the issue is in our workflow actually. And maybe we can remove the planner. Okay, simple programming team. Okay, group chat assistant. Now here, let's do only programmer and optimizer. And I'm gonna leave this super vague because maybe simpler is better, who knows. I mean, those suggestions by ChatGPT were really useful, variable naming, but it was confusing when it's Google Maps API key, when it should be specifically the geocoding API. Then error handling, this was useful. And also this was very useful, specify the endpoint exactly. This was faster, obviously, because we removed one agent. This seems like the most promising so far. I'm gonna save it as our skill. Okay, no errors, very promising. Let's go back to our skills and replace this. Delete this agent. Let's delete this workflow and create a new agent. We name it Maps Expert. Agents, new workflow, geocoding. Primary assistant should be Maps Expert. Okay, let's do a different location. We do Niagara Falls. What is going on, man? And also, I don't know whether our simple programming team is better than the full one. Programmer gave us code, but then optimizer found some improvements, I guess. Okay, so let's try both. We can try both. The default programmer one and the optimized one. And really, this is a game of iterative improvement. So all we really need is a crazy amount of patience, to be honest. Or maybe we can try Gemini because actually it has better internet capability. Wow, I just discovered a new functionality within Gemini. You can select text and change that. Explain more simply. Okay, I did not know this was a thing. Okay, so let's launch it again. AutoGen Studio UI port 8082 app dir src. Create a new directory, a new folder src, and we have our new folder right here. We can close the old one, src. Boom. Let's copy the environment variable actually into here, and let's just build a simple 2 agents. Let's just do planner, programmer, workflow, group chat. Okay, group chat assistant, boom boom. We have to do planner and programmer. Let's hit playground, programming team create. Hopefully this prompt isn't confusing. If the API key is not found, try checking for the env file within the src folder. This is crazy, man. Why is programmer going first? Planner going second, then programmer again, then planner. What are they talking about? Like the programmer codes it in the first message and they just have a chat? I mean, the agents are just talking to one another. Copy this, go to build, skills. Actually, let me just save this again. New file. Okay, geocoding 04. Save, no errors, which is good. Name it get coordinates, save. You know what, let's do a super simple workflow. 2 agents, and maybe it's actually better to keep Microsoft's optimized prompt. Maybe I should have gotten that idea earlier. If the user tells you to find coordinates of a specific location, use the get coordinates skill you have access to by calling this function with the location as the parameter. New session with geocoding. Let's do find the exact coordinates of Mount Everest. Oh my god, I think it worked. I think our agents successfully self-improved. No way. I mean, it took them a few tries, I'll be honest. Oh, so it has to do this. From skills import get coordinates. Okay. So maybe it is good to keep that long Microsoft prompt so that it knows how to do this. But let's test it out. Latitude and longitude. Okay, let's try a different site and test get address. Beautiful. It's in Nepal, meaning it works. To double check that our agent works, beautiful. So let's try again. The Great Pyramid of Giza. You know, if we get back-to-back success, then wow. Let's double check it. Great Pyramid of Giza. Man, it took longer than expected, especially given that my first 2 attempts were completely ruined by OBS. But we are here. So the takeaway is that Microsoft's prompt is quite optimized for agents to be able to run functions. So if you can use that prompt, at least for one of your agents, the one that is calling the function. So that is the takeaway. You can do this for any API. Obviously, geocoding has limited use cases. I mean, you could build some interesting applications, obviously, with maps. But you can choose any API you want, any service you want, and tell your agents to connect to that API, to build a function for that, add it to your skills. And like you can have 10, 20, 30 different skills in here, and then build agent teams that utilize those skills to do things that you couldn't do with ChatGPT. So hopefully you find this useful. If you want the exact prompts, and if you are not in my community and want to access a sample environment variable, as well as all the different prompts and code, then make sure to join my community. It's the first link in the description. Thanks for watching.